Talking fishing, nothing but fishing, talking fishing. If it's facts about fishing that you want to know, then tune in, folks, cause this is the show. We'll show you all the right bait to use, so sit right back, you got nothing to lose. Doesn't really matter if it's trout or carp, flathead, marlin or a gummy shark. Listen to the guys and you can't go wrong. They'll be talking about fishing till the cows come home. Talking fishing, nothing but fishing, we're talking fishing.
Welcome everyone to Talking Fishing. Big show coming away tonight. The Minister is in the house and so much to talk about. The weather is good, the fish have turned on, and it's just an amazing time of the year. Ads, it's been incredible in tackle shops, hasn't it? The amount of people enjoying their fishing.
It's insane, and summer feels as though it's finally right on the doorstep. Consistent temperatures into the 20s and 30s, and it got a bit windy the other day, but hey, it's all part of it.
Up, doesn't it?
It does,
yeah.
And I think the snapper fishing is going to explode after that big blow as well. We've probably been lacking a good blow like that sort of in the early part of the season, so I think it's only going to work wonders, to be honest.
Trelly, you're relegated to the...
Sorry.
Trelly, over there, you're on the COVID bar.
Yeah.
I don't know if they're going to switch to your camera, but anyway. There you go. There's Trelly on the COVID bar.
Yeah.
Now, you've been relegated because the Minister is in the house, but did I see temperatures almost approaching 40 in cod country on the weekend?
Yeah, but they can't get the weather right at the moment, so it's probably going to be about 26.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
But last weekend, wasn't it up around the 40 or something?
Yeah, no, that's right. We have had a couple of warm days, but the water temperature hasn't sort of got going just yet. We've had a really cool, mild start to the sort of this season as this year. So global warming just hasn't kicked in yet. But we're waiting for those temperatures to come up. But and happy to give up my chair tonight and stand for the next hour for the lady in the house.
And we should introduce the Minister for Fishing and Boating as joining us for the second time in your very short time of being Minister for Fisheries.
Thank you very much.
And boating, Melissa.
It's terrific. It's terrific to be back. And Trelly, if you do get a bit tired, I'm more than happy to let you have a seat. But,
no worries.
We can't afford 4 bar stools, but anyway, that's the way it is. A big week for you last week. First event out into the country. 2 bits of legislation through Parliament. You're getting it done.
It's been a massive job, and last week was absolutely a cracking week for any single person who loves fishing or boating.
Yeah.
But we've got a lot to talk about tonight.
We're going to talk about it all tonight and lots of things. We're going to talk about Hastings boat ramp with the Minister. That'll be interesting, all right? Won't give you 2 at a time. The golden tag, that is amazing. That is amazing what's going on with the golden tag. So you'll hear about all that tonight. Legislation on the boating fund, legislation on the camping on river frontage. Like, there's just so much that happened in the last week, and it's all good news. One of the things, Ads, I've got to say, is a lot of fish, I'd say peaking at around that 9-point-something kilo.
Yeah.
There's a year class in the system this year that's just... It's been pretty good.
Yeah, and they seem to be a lot of those fish in Port Phillip Bay as well. I mean, we generally associate Western Port with having that bigger size class, pushing that 20-pound, 8.5 kilo to that 20-pound mark. But I think over the last 2 or 3 years in particular, as there is probably a little bit more tidal movement in Port Phillip Bay as there ever has been before, I think it's really spread the big fish out. So whether you're in Port Phillip or Western Port, you have every chance at a 20-pounder, and how exciting is that to say with confidence?
It's good. And speaking of which, folks, let's have a look at what's been caught by the people at home. It's time for Catch of the Week.
Catch of the Week, brought to you by Shimano.
Now, have a look at this. Jack Wells, I don't know how old he is, but a 7.55 kilo snapper out fishing with our good friend Jason Turner.
Nice.
Pro Red. That's a nice fish in anyone's books, isn't it?
Magnificent.
7.5 kilo, good-looking snapper.
Chelsea, nice.
Yeah, it's good. Another 7 kilo. I just said 9 kilos being the mark, and they're all 7. Yeah, good on your crayon. But have a look at this one from Black Rock, a lovely 7 kilo fish. I think it's going to come up. There you go, Anthony Vella.
Yeah, I think Black Rock's taken the A grade honours this year, especially early in the season. It's been St Kilda the last few years, but I think Black Rock's taken the mantle this year. The early fishing there has been unbelievable.
A lot of people have been caught in the marine park for some reason. I don't know if you saw those photos, and I actually meant to cover it tonight, and I didn't. So, but I don't know why. There must be a lot of fish around there.
Especially with that app and
not wearing tournament shirts, are they? They're wearing flannel shirts. Got Philip knives.
Just around the corner, Ricketts Point. Have a look at this one. Antonio Rocker, 2.5 kilo snapper. Good to see the kids out on it.
Oh, great fish.
Good looking fish.
I know.
I bet he felt like such a hero. Putting that in.
Yeah.
I love snapper.
Great pick.
That's beautiful. In the minister's hometown of Williamstown, have a look at this. Matty O'Loughlin with a lovely snapper from Williamstown. There you go.
Oh,
lovely table eating fish, isn't that good? That is just so good. Good to see everyone out on the snapper, and it is that time of year. Thousands and thousands of boats out on the water. All right, let's head inland a little bit because some cracking fish. I mean, this is probably, I think, our biggest ever episode. 12 catches of the week because, and we had to cull so many. Yeah. But there's some cracking looking fish. Have a look at this one. Redfin for Manor Lakes in Werribee. Logan Vesey. Have a look at this. Lovely redfin. Getting the kids out on the redfin.
Yeah, it's good, isn't it?
The drop tail ready?
Yeah, he just captured it the wrong moment.
Just kicked at the wrong time, that fish.
He did, didn't he?
Fish's fault.
Nice pick, but Logan.
Now, I want to debate this next fish with you boys, right? Because it mightn't be a trophy, all right? But have a look at this. Catherine Grech, a brown trout up near Newgie in the Latrobe River.
Yep.
On the fly.
Okay.
Would you take
Yes.
a wild brown on the fly over a stonker on a spinner?
Yes, Dave, because if you've ever seen me try and cast a fly rod, just getting the fly in the water to have a chance of catching a fish that size is a massive effort. So, I'd claim that too.
Well, I reckon Catherine teams up with a former guest on the show in Charlie May, who is a world-renowned and world-qualified fly fishing instructor. But Catherine's, she's got it.
That's awesome.
You know, like
Did you tie her own fly, David? Was that fly tied by Catherine?
I reckon Charlie probably tied it.
Charlie
should probably clarify that.
Yep, that's great.
Get that information cleared by government tomorrow, and we'll be able to broadcast that. But anyway, have a look at this. Now, this is one. Hey, we got the mail on this one. Saturday. This is Mark, and it's a 40-centimetre bass out of Lake Bullen-Merri. He writes, Saturday, took the family out to Lake Bullen-Merri, first time out fishing this year due to COVID. We were chasing trout and Chinook salmon. Well, weren't we surprised when we caught this? It's an Australian bass, 40 centimetres, all while I had a treble hook stuck in my right thumb. Right? They kept fishing. I knew that they had stocked the lake with Aussie bass a long time ago, maybe 15 years ago. We should check that with Trav when it was last stocked. I'd heard of isolated captures, but I thought they were all gone by now. To my surprise, apparently not. Good on you, Mark, for sending
how good's that?
Cracking bass for Bullen-Merri.
Hardy fish, aren't they? Aussie bass.
I love.
Out
Have
of
you ever
isolation.
been to Camperdown, Melissa?
No.
You've got to go to Camperdown and check out like the Crater Lakes.
Okay.
Bullen-Merri and Lake Purrumbete are both ex-volcanoes. They're just whole beautiful fish. But the town of Camperdown, isn't that just your typical country town?
Lovely.
A couple of pubs, big wide main street, clock tower and the medium street. You know, like I love Camperdown. Anyway, get out there, help the region. So. All right, let's keep going. Yellow belly, aren't they in season?
Fish of the month.
Fish of the month. Bonnie Doon, Tony Hines. Have a look at this.
That's a good fish.
It is a nice fish. There's a yellow belly for you.
Just a football with a small head and tail. Really.
Yeah,
Pretty much.
That
isn't
one's
it?
kind of quite silvery, Charlie, isn't it? Like, are they a more golden colour in different waters?
They will, they'll turn different colours in different water. Like clear water, they tend to turn sort of darker and opposite to what you think.
Yep.
Whereas in dirty water, they'll tend to turn lighter.
Gold.
So, that's a nice fish.
Yeah, there you go. The VFA have been doing some magnificent stocking. I think last week we mentioned stonkers in the Goulburn River and big brown ex-brood stock in Eildon Pondage. Well, Mick Harding headed up to Eildon Pondage and have a look at this 2.8 kilo brown trout. That's a cracking looking fish.
I love it. How good do brown trout look? I know the rainbows are beautiful, but those browns are solid.
Yeah. This every catch of the week is interesting this week. Have a look at this. Matilda Ott got up to Lake Tyers on the brim with her dad, and there's a couple of crackers, 39 centimetres. There was a third brim of that size. Ooh. Let's have a look at the photo of that. The next photo.
Oh!
That's what happens when the entrance hasn't opened to Lake Tyers for a long, long time, and the tailor in there have grown quite big. And the tailor have sharp teeth.
That's a serious tailor to take the back off a brim like
Well,
that.
normally you'd say that's a small shark or something.
Yeah.
A tailor got the back of the brim. Is it going to be exciting
Didn't
tailor
Matilda
fishing?
get the tailor?
No. I'd rather have the brim.
Yeah.
Better
But
rating.
Oh, big tailor.
People like Travis Dowling go fishing for the tailor there. When you're not that good at fishing, and all you got to do is like tow a lure around, just putt in the and no skill involved. That's the sort of fishing Travis likes. So anyway, just let the minister know.
And take the hook out.
All right, make a note of that one.
All right, it wouldn't be the same if we didn't cover the stonkers. Have a look at this. Gaz Flett, he got a stonker trout out of one of the stock lakes, Spaven, down near Sunbury.
Serious fish.
That's a stonker. And lucky last. Now, how's this David Cummings? Mm-hmm. He's been watching this show because his daughter-in-law does the cooking segment.
Oh, there you go.
So, well done, David, and well done to Cara. She's coming up with some lovely trout tarts later on. But
that was massive.
13 pound.
Quickly, we saw up there.
Yeah. So isn't it funny? I know we're getting yelled at to go, but isn't it? I just want to. We'll go a couple of minutes over. Isn't it funny that some people say I've got a 2.8 kilo brown?
Yeah, I was going to say
but
this
then I've got a 13 pound.
Yep.
So 13 pound sounds way bigger than 2.8 kilo, doesn't it?
Yeah.
You know, like it's old-fashioned. So if you want to send in a pic of your catch of the week, this is what you have to do.
If you want to be like me and have your photo on TV, email your fishing pic to info@ifish.com.au. Go Pies!
Yeah, I wanna go fishing.
Coming up next, fisheries news. You'll hear it all straight from the minister. Next on Talking Fishing.
Talking fishing.
We know what you'd rather be doing.
We know what you've really got in mind.
We know you'd rather be out fishing. And today's the day you're gonna wear the line. 'Cause every day's a good day.
Stop wishing.
Every day's a chance to drift away. Drift away.
Every day's a good day for fishing. See it down and tackle world today.
Talking fishing, nothing but fishing. We're talking fishing.
Live from the studios of Channel 31 Melbourne, it's now time for some very fishy news.
Now, plenty of news, and we're going to hear it straight from the minister. But just before that, lots of text messages coming in from fisheries staff.
Yeah.
They have fisheries staff actually have a staff fishing competition down at Lake Tyers, and they're all tipping that a tailor is going to win the biggest fish this year.
There you
so
go. We'll see.
Travis is going to win.
Now, Dave, just before you get into the news, to quickly close out Catch of the Week, it was my fault. I got the photo in a little bit late, but I travelled to Newborough on Sunday, which is up near Moe.
Oh, yeah.
And I got taken to a local fishing hole, commonly known as the Puddle, because it's not much bigger than a puddle.
Yeah.
And young Gracie taught me a thing or two about catching breadfin. Yeah, I caught 0.
You got outfished.
Easily.
How old's Gracie?
Oh, I should be 8 or 9.
Well done, Az.
So congratulations,
Local
Grace. I've got to come back up and redeem myself.
Slow learner.
Now, Minister, you were down in the Gippsland Lakes area last Friday to announce a new boat ramp, Seacombe boat ramp. Tell us about that.
It was great. Oh, God, it was just great to get out of the city too.
Yeah.
But what we'll be doing is investing $435,000 to upgrade Seacombe boat ramp.
Yep.
And down there, it was fantastic. It's a beautiful spot. Not sure if you've been down there.
Never been there.
No.
It's in McClellan Strait, isn't it? There's a
Yeah, Lock Sport's just a little bit further along.
Yeah.
But, it's a quiet little spot. There was a bloke down there who makes boats out of Bairnsdale. Absolutely magnificent.
Yep.
Started out at the beginning of the year with 3 guys working for him. It's now got up to 23.
Wow.
Awesome.
Yeah, awesome boat.
Yeah.
But what we'll be doing out there is, it's better access to McLennan Strait.
Yep.
So we'll be putting in a 6 metre wide boat ramp.
Yep.
And there'll be fish cleaning facilities, some solar lamps, so that people can come down there overnight or get out there. Apparently, it is a great spot to actually just watch the world go by too.
Yeah.
Real good brim fishing through there as well.
Right.
I actually read the newspaper article on it, and they had a photo of the old ramp, and it needs an upgrade. It looked like it's just one of those, country style, and it's 100% protected from all the winds. Caravan park across the road,
it's a bit of timber on the sides and a bit of concrete going down.
Yeah.
Whereas this will widen it up. It'll just make it really accessible, so people can just take their boats straight down in there and into the water.
There you go. I think we did have a slide. I don't know. I wasn't looking at the camera, but whether we put that slide up or not doesn't matter. We'll skip that one. All right, the headlines. I should talk about the headlines because we've gone and prepared some of the slides. But the next headline is major boost for fishing and boating. In a major victory for fishers and boaters around the state, two landmark pieces of legislation have passed in the Legislative Council, delivering on election commitments to establish a dedicated fund for boating and making sure people can access more camping spaces. New laws to allow camping on riverfront Crown land have passed the Upper House, as has legislation to create the Better Boating Fund, which will reinvest every dollar of boating registration and licence fees back into recreational boating. We'll talk about that in a minute. Let's talk about the Crown land stuff first. You got that over the line?
Got it over the line. And look, thank you, Dave, Adam and Shelley for all your support on that, because it's going to really open up that Crown land river frontage to let people go out there and really get, enjoy fishing and camping on some beautiful spots around the state.
That, can we remind the people at home, is public land.
It most certainly is public land. And look, I know that there's been a bit of a scare campaign and people are worried about, what change may bring. But look at our state forests.
Yep.
People go camping out there.
It's no different, is it?
It's no different now.
No.
But to be honest, I'd argue that people who get out there and go fishing are really some of the best defenders of our environment that we've got. They look after the environment, because they love to be able to go and throw a line, I think good on them.
Yeah. It's someone said to me it was 150 years in the making, because these bits of public land, farmers some have fenced it off. I'm not saying all farmers have done that, but some have fenced it off. They've put gates in to really restrict the public from accessing public land. And all the way along, you've been able to fish, you've been able to hike through them, you haven't been able to camp on them. And this just opens that up to, if you want to go and stay the night in your swag and have a fish, and, like things like the Stonkers. I mean, the Goulburn River, if you want to go up and spend a balmy night in your swag and have a fish, you can.
Absolutely.
And it's kind of part of the Aussie culture, isn't it? It's
Oh, look, I think it'll be... I don't anticipate that we're going to see hordes of people out there, but I think to make it available and to make sure that people can access it is fantastic.
There's not going to be tens of thousands of people doing it, but it is open now, public land. That's good. Now, the second bit, people... this has been controversial. The Better Boating Fund. Now, I'm going to prelude this story with... we've had the Premier in here. Mm-hmm. From 2014 to 2020, that's 6 years, every commitment that the government has committed to for fishing and boating has been delivered. Like, we had the Premier here 2018, and everything that he said he'd do in 2014, he did. We ticked it off on the list. I don't get why people are doubting that you wouldn't deliver now, and you've delivered this bit of legislation.
So the Better Boating Fund, that, as you said, went through the Upper House. Basically what it's going to do is every single cent that people pay on their rego or their licensing will go into a dedicated fund that will then get reinvested back into improving boating across the state.
Yeah.
Now, at the moment, it's about $31 million a year.
Yep.
And that will go straight back into boating every single year. We've still got a lot of work to do because we need to actually sit down and we'll get a round table happening so that people can participate and say, this is how, we want our priorities to spend the money.
Yep.
And I'd really encourage every single person to jump online. There is, and apply to give their views on the round table on the Department of Transport's Get Involved page.
We might put that up on our socials tomorrow so people know how to apply for that. So,
it's an incredible commitment. I know the opposition really opposed this, and they actually moved an amendment in the House that would have only seen half the money going up into a fund.
They only wanted, I think it was only boat registration and not marine licences.
So only about
crazy.
$14 million instead of $31 million. Talk about a dud deal.
Yeah.
Anyways.
Yeah. No, that's excellent. And, I had discussions with the BIA this week because they had, they wanted some other words in there. And I said, you've got to understand there's no reason to say that you're not going to deliver on it because I've heard all the words. You've delivered everything else that's been promised, and you're accountable because you actually have to report how much is collected and how much goes into the fund. And if they don't match, guess what? We're going to be knocking on your door and saying you're going to be held accountable. So
quite rightly, every year that will be acquitted. It'll be, it will be something that is on the website that every single person can see. But most importantly, every single person who wants to have a say can get involved and say, this is the boat ramp that needs upgrading. This is where I would like to see it going. And, I'd encourage every single person, get on board, have your say, and let's work it out together.
Yep. All right, talking boat ramps. Got to mention Hastings boat ramp. It's a disaster that is closed right
now. Not for much longer, Dave.
Yep.
Not for much longer. I'll be heading down there towards the end of the week.
Yep.
I'd really want to go and have a look at, and look, it has been a challenging project.
I think we've got some photos while you're talking. We'll just put some photos up at the webcam from this morning. So,
on the 11th on the 11th of September, it suffered a setback, and there's things that do happen with projects, and that's when the cofferdam formwork structurally failed.
Yep.
And unfortunately, that was a real mishap and delayed those works.
Yep.
But as I said, I'm confident that as I'm heading down there towards the end of the week, we'll be seeing some real progress and be able to get it, operational very soon.
Yep.
Going to get the bag on, Melissa? The hammer and nails. Head down there and, stuck right into it.
Hammer the last nail in.
Hammer the last nail in.
Very quickly, just a little bit of sad news too. I think we've got a photo of Merv up here, but for those of you that knew Merv Maguire was... he was the CEO of the Future Fish Foundation for 10 years. Prior to that, he was actually worked for Rex Hunt Fishing Adventures and worked for Rex for many years and ended up being the chairman of the Rec Fishing Roundtable, the state government's roundtable, and sadly, Merv, after a fair battle with cancer, passed away a couple of weeks ago. So sad loss to fishing for those of you that knew Merv. So there you go. Bit of sad news to end that. Coming up next, product of the week, and Cara takes us into the kitchen for some trout tarts. Next on Talking Fishing.
Talking Fishing.
Good morning, spotters. Stephanie speaking.
Talking fishing, nothing but fishing, we're talking fishing.
Something a little bit different for product of the week this week, and something that very well may be on the Christmas list of quite a few of the punters out there, because one of the biggest growth areas in what we do is fishing storage and luggage. With all the technology and bits and pieces around, there's never been the perfect storage system for any of your fishing tackle, and we're very closely getting to that point where we can just organise things a little bit better. Because you know what it's like, we all sit at home, and this probably happened through COVID a fair bit. We decided to sort everything out, make everything perfect, just on the first fishing trip, we take it all apart and just take the bits and pieces that we want. New luggage. Bit of a cosmetic upgrade from the old one, but we've seen quite a large, a big jump in quality as well, focusing more on waterproof sips, bits and pieces, just things that make the experience a little bit easier and a little bit more enjoyable. The backpack to my right here has probably been one of the bigger things we've seen throughout this period of storage and luggage options. It comes loaded with 4 tackle boxes, which is a big deal because for what you pay for it, you've almost got that dollar worth in boxes there, and everything else comes, it's all the nuts and bolts of it basically come for nothing. that doubles as a backpack. So not only does that become a legitimate storage option, if you want to leave it on the boat, or we were just talking about Crown Land, you can have your swag out there, you can have all your bits and pieces in the bag nice and safe. But if you want to go for a walk, you don't really want to be carting a full backpack full of stuff. You know, you've got 4 trays there of lures and hooks and sinkers and bits and pieces. You've got leader, line, you can have a drink in there, the whole box and dice. You can also grab a little waste bag.
Oh, yeah.
Which is for a few bits and pieces. So you can leave that with your swag, take out the bits and pieces you want to maybe cast a few spinnerbaits trolley or something like that. You can pop them in your waste bag or in your sling bag if the waste bag isn't quite your thing. The options now to travel light but efficient are now endless.
Yep.
And so those two there, the sling bag and the bum bag, are both new additions to the range. The backpack's been there for quite a while, but now with a little bit of improvement in zip quality and bits and pieces, there is no excuse not to be organised, and you can travel lightly, efficiently, and enjoy everything just that little bit.
Sling bag, you just throw it over your shoulder.
Straight over your shoulder. It's got a support strap as well, so if it is carrying a little bit of weight, you're not bearing the whole thing on that one shoulder.
Yeah.
I noticed that
it's just getting easy.
And then you can turn that round to the front of you, and then it only sort of half comes down.
Yeah, that's right. So
it gives you a little platform to work on.
That's right. The front panel of the bum bag is actually hard, so you can open it right up, and it almost acts as a little, like you can work on that, whether you're tying something or
put your lure there, or you tie another
pop
one.
your scissors on there or something like that, or for protection, if you want to put your sunglasses in there.
Yeah.
And it does fall or you sit, you've actually got a hard protective case there. Because we've all lost way too many pairs of sunglasses that way.
Trip over and fall on a rock with your bum first.
That's right.
Bust your glasses.
So that's just a few new little bits and pieces to make life easier over the holiday period, and I think make a good Christmas gift too, because you know what us fussy fishermen like.
Great Christmas gift.
Yeah, buying lures and bits and pieces can be a little bit hard when you're not sure what you're looking at. This is something that any fisherman can use at any time.
Well done. There you go. I think we plugged this one last week too, and we'll do it again. Peninsula Snapper Challenge is coming up very shortly. I think we've got all the details coming up on your screen, but good on the guys there at Peninsula Snapper Challenge for continuing the comp, I guess. It's a COVID-safe competition, 21st to the 29th of November, 9 days of competition fishing. There's open, junior and kayak divisions, and heaps of prizes given away on Facebook. A draw every competition day. They'll keep you up to date with catches, who's winning, who's doing this, who's doing that. If you want to enter, peninsulaSnapperChallenge.com is where you go, and you can get entries online. But good on those guys for keeping a fishing comp going.
That's right. It would have been easy.
Trouble times.
It would have been easy to can it all, and no one would have blamed them for doing that, considering the state we're all in. So huge effort to get it up and running.
Also, shout out the Western Port Whiting Challenge has confirmed today that they will be on next year in March. Yep. And a bit of a celebration for Don. It's his 80th year on the organising committee.
Oh, good on you, Donnie.
Even though it's only been running about 40 years. But,
congratulations, Don.
Well done to Don. All right, now I tell you what, I looked at this video today, just a sneak peek. I didn't watch it all, just to have a look at what Cara was cooking up in the kitchen. And I tell you what, if people at home don't follow this recipe, I'll go he.
This is interesting.
So good. Cara cooking trout tarts. Have a look at this.
This week we were lucky enough to head off and fish along the Goulburn River. We brought home some lovely trout, and today we're going to turn them into some tasty trout tarts. To complement our trout tarts today, I've gone with some beautiful seasonal produce, and I've been gifted these lovely baby spinach leaves, which are a New Zealand variety. I've also got some baby asparagus, fresh dill, some goat cheese for that nice little bitiness and saltiness, capers, and some parmesan. For the base of our tarts, I'm using store-bought puff pastry, and I'm going to do a combination of individual tarts and also a large one to share when it's pre-bought. So I'm just going to lay it in, press it around, and then literally just break it off the sides using the back of your thumb. And when you're joining two sheets together, just have a little, probably 1 centimetre overlap. And then we're going to press that quite firmly just so that none of our egg mix escapes when we're cooking. The egg mix And this is what's going to hold our tart together. So in here I've cracked 6 eggs, 1/3 cup of cream, and a little bit of pepper. So we're just going to whisk this through, and then we can build our tarts. So to prepare the remainder of our ingredients, we're just going to roughly chop our trout. I have removed the skin and the bones. The asparagus, just roughly chop them as well. The dill, again, just dice those up, and we're going to crumble our feta on, and we can just tear the leaves of the spinach. All we have to do now is layer everything together. So we'll start with parmesan, and we'll just sprinkle that along the base of our tart, and then with our spinach. Now this is lovely, the New Zealand one. It's still quite bitey and a little tart, but it's very salty. And then we can add our trout. Again, we're really rustic, so don't have to worry too much about presentation. Then we can put some of our asparagus in, sprinkle it all over. Break up some of this beautiful goat's cheese. And our dill. And sprinkle with a couple of capers. Pour our egg mix over the top and into a preheated oven at about 170, and we'll give that about half an hour. These tarts have turned out absolutely gorgeous. They look amazing, smell delicious. So we'll just let this one cool off a little bit before we take him out of his tray. To serve our tart, as a side, just some fresh salad leaves and a little drizzle of balsamic vinegar, and then chop him up into whatever portion sizes you would like. And the best thing about these tarts is that they're great for a brunch, and you can have them hot or cold. So there we are, beautiful trout tarts.
Wow.
That looked legit.
They look good.
That was awesome.
Who would have thought a trout tart?
Yeah.
Like quiche or something, Lorraine or something like that.
Liked it.
That looked good. Anyway, coming up next, Kramer's mailbag. Plenty more to discuss with the Minister for Fishing and Boating next on Talking Fishing.
Talking Fishing.
G'day, Callan here from Paul Worsling's Tackle World Cranbourne. Supercharged batteries have been supplying maintenance-free marine batteries since 2001. The Seamaster Gold range is second to none, delivering superior starting power and reserve capacity. No need to top up with water, truly a fit and forget battery. With up to 2 years replacement warranty, you know you have quality. Your battery is your lifeline. Without it, you're dead in the water because it's bloody hard to push start. I've got a Seamaster battery in my boat. Make yours a Seamaster Gold today.
Talking fishing, nothing but fishing, we're talking fishing.
All right, let's kick it off with a boat ramp complaint. Sorry, Minister, it's the way it is. This one,
we've got a better boating fund.
I know, it's going to kick in and it's going to change things. The Minister is promising that. So this is from Ron. Now, Ron writes to us, he goes, "Hi David, you would know that Safety Beach ramp was closed for 3 days at the start of November for dredging, of course, because there was no time to do it during winter, nor during COVID when boating and fishing was banned. So they did it in November. Common theme here too, boys, Mornington Peninsula Shire Council. They stuffed up Rye, they've stuffed up Hastings. Safety Beach is one of them. But we've got some photos here. But it only they did some dredging. For 3 days they did dredging, but it only took 1 day to undo all the good work because the geniuses at Mornington Peninsula Shire Council just dumped the spoil on the beach beside the ramp. It's now back in the hole that they cleared. Because if anyone knows Safety Beach, when it cops a westerly, it's like the surf at Gunnamatta. 3 days of dredging back into the hole.
Wasn't there a council election just shortly, last week or week before?
Won't make a difference
just
to them.
fix
Won't make a difference to him.
No.
Apologies to John Baker. I'm catching up with him later on this week.
It's an embarrassing one, that one.
Anyway, it's just got to be fixed. This one's from Sean. Oh, you'll love this, ads. I don't know why we promote these things. Hi, David, Trelly and Adam and Minister. Long-time viewer, but first time writing in with a request. Could you please put in a quick plug for my group's fishing competition? Coming up at the end of the month, YACHT Hunters Victoria is
nice.
YACHT Hunters Vic is holding their last COVID-safe round of the YACHT Hunters Kayak Fishing Series 2020 at Bem River on the weekend of 28th and 29th of November. Kayak fishing event run across the country on the same day, so it's all coordinated. As we missed out on the 2 rounds this year, this round will be one to remember as we catch up at one of Victoria's premium broom fisheries for a prize-packed weekend of kayak fishing, sending off 2020 on a better note. Entries close this week and people can register, so get in now if you want to fish it at yachhunters.com. That's yachhunters.com. Or jump on the YACHT Hunters Vic Facebook page for more details. It'll be a great way to support the locals in East Gippsland who are recovering from bushfires, as well as catching up with friends and making new ones in the kayak fishing.
You'd be going to that, ads, wouldn't you? You do a bit of maintenance on your yak over the COVID period, did you?
Yep.
20 more rod holders on or something?
Took the cover off it and gave it a hose out because it sat there pretty lonely for a few months. But Bem River, what a place to have a kayak fishing competition because
on fire too, isn't it?
It's fishing unbelievably well and it's built for kayak fishing. It is
there you go.
A beautiful spot.
This one, got to rush through because we've got stuff to talk about with the Minister. Shane writes in, "G'day guys, just wondering why no one picked up on the numbering of the fishing cards. RFL 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, which was on last week's show, which to me is a recreational fishing licence. But love Dave's suggestion, which could be marketed as making a donation for the seniors to pay for. So that's my opinion, that they should be a kind of licence. I guess you're going to get a whole lot of public comment because it's open for public comment on those.
Absolutely.
So it'll be interesting to see how they turn out. That's it for the news. Plenty more to talk about. Minister, let's talk about the kingfish reef. They're yelling at me. I didn't quite think. If you'd like to write into Kramer's mailbag, this is what you do.
Send your mail to Kramer's Mailbag, PO Box 734, Patterson Lakes, Victoria 3197, or email kramer@ifish.com.au.
Sometimes they're quite nasty in your ear when you've done the wrong thing and missed something. They snap.
That was a good one.
5 years and he's still doing the wrong thing. But,
yes, I'm just learning to get the routine going. Kingfish reefs, there's a big plan for them, isn't there? Tell us about that.
There is. So, look, as you'd be aware, the Victorian State Government's allocated $1.3 million towards the design and construction of that kingfish reef in Port Phillip Bay. Now, have you got a map of it, Dave?
Oh, we've got one coming up on the screen, I think.
All right.
Hopefully.
So that location was identified after talking to a number of key recreational fishing stakeholders and also the Harbour Master. But the news really today is that the Harbour Master's given it the big tick.
Wow.
So
that is incredible because the Harbour Master's the one that kicks you off the water when you're fishing in the shipping channel.
When you're in the channel, yeah. That's right.
So for him to go, hey, we've got a great alternate spot off to the side. And I've got to bear in mind because a lot of people are going, oh, they're going to ban it fishing in the channel. They're not going to ban fishing in the channel, but this is just a great alternate site.
Yeah, absolutely. So the VFA are going to deploy 16 reef modules, the Harbour Master's given it the big tick. And now we just need to get it signed off by the Maritime and Coastal Act consent. And then the VFA is going to kick that off. But we aim really to get it deployed out there by October next year.
So in time for kingy season next year.
In time for kingy season.
How good is that?
Smoking ceremony.
Well, maybe, Charlie. Big news this week is that Golden Tag is back.
Golden tag is
back. Did I see you with a photo of a fish with a golden tag in it the other day?
Yeah, I was out in Sport on Friday. We had
tag.
4 black brim that were worth $2,000 each, but there was also, and they wouldn't let me handle it, or one that was worth 10 grand. So that one was released in the middle of the lake. The 4 that I had were I just sort of put in
off the bank.
Off the bank, but that was fine.
It's only 2 grand. Yeah.
Well, exactly. Yeah. But I'll tell you, there were a couple of locals there with their rods getting ready. So
So you reopened that Friday?
That's right.
I guess, Fishing Saturday. Now, big news coming today. We've got a photo of this, that the first winning tag of the new season of Golden Tag has been caught. Joshua Reed, have a look at this for a beautiful brown trout out of the Dartmouth Pondage.
Nice.
Go, Josh.
$2,000. That is fantastic.
Nice fish.
Well done to Josh. I've got to say, Dartmouth Pondage, if you boys remember, probably 2 years ago, the water board shut it down. You weren't allowed to fish there. Travis had it opened, had to do a whole lot of work on ground. So not only is it open, but people are catching $2,000 fish there. Like that is just the biggest turnaround for Dartmouth. And I think extra fish have been stocked too, haven't they?
So there was about 950 fish out there.
Yep.
But we've got more than 20 new tagged fish that are worth $10,000 each.
Yep.
And also another 50 fish that are worth $2,000 each.
Wow.
All around the state. So
and I heard including Portland tuna.
Really?
Yep.
Including Portland tuna.
Tuna, whiting, all sorts have been tagged now. Talking to Craig Ingram, I said, how do you know if you won the 10 grand? The 10 grand's actually got a 10K written on the tag, so we tried to get a photo. Another reminder too, the boys did tell me today, is that some of those fish, in fact, probably that 950 were tagged back in March, and they've actually grown a fair bit of algae on the tag. So, you know, if they're in places like Bem River and you know, places like that, where there's nothing wrong with that, it's not unhealthy for the fish, but because they've been tagged for so long, that lovely gold tag that's worth $2 grand might it might look like a fin or a spike or something that's all black and green. And check if you're fishing anyway. Check your fish for tags.
Pity if you catch it in South Australia and the border's closed.
Yeah, that's
you
no
can't
good.
get over to get your 10 grand.
Yeah. Well, so that's the thing. I think the rules are you have to catch it in Victorian waters. I think Craig told me that too, because
that is correct.
Yeah,
because of the rules.
Tuna and kingfish and things like that, they could swim interstate, even though they don't know that they've got to quarantine for 2 weeks.
I know.
Good point, Charlie.
And Minister, just quick shout out to yourself and the VFA, because this was a great initiative that was just thrown into all sorts of disarray because of COVID starting and stopping. So to put more fish in worth 10K, not just the 2K ones left over, I think it's a big deal, because it is a great initiative to get people fishing all over the place again, especially in those regional parts of the state which have had COVID and the bushfires. Embrace it, everybody. Have a crack. Keep an eye out for the tag, because they didn't have to put more fish in worth 10K.
Yeah.
And I think it's just a way to show how serious that this initiative was taken, but it's been so hard with COVID. Yeah. It really has.
And the bushfires, because that's why it started.
That's right, exactly. So get amongst it. There's $10,000 fish out there. Yeah. Why would you not go fishing at a chance to get that?
Yeah, there you go. Coming up next, the all-important hotspots. We're going to talk a little bit more with the Minister next on Talking Fishing.
Talking Fishing.
The BEAUMARIS Motor Yacht Squadron is a trailer boat and social club on Port Phillip Bay. The club has a great range of facilities, including multiple boat ramps, ample car and trailer parking, boat wash and fish cleaning, fishing competitions and boat safety lectures, boating activities and club events, a restaurant and 2 bars. Easy launch and retrieval makes for a relaxing time on the water for you, your family and friends to enjoy. And boating memberships are now available. The BEAUMARIS Motor Yacht Squadron, the best trailer boat experience on the bay.
Talking fishing, nothing but fishing, we're talking fishing.
And now the segment you've all been waiting for, Fishing Hotspots, brought to you by the BEAUMARIS Motor Yacht Squadron, Melbourne's premier trailer boat club.
The all-important hotspots, where to go this weekend. A little bit of warm weather coming our way too. Yep. Minister for Fishing and Boating Melissa Horne's in the house. A couple of questions to ask you in a minute, Minister, but let's kick it off. Over your way, Trelly, in Geelong, the Point Richards Channel, fishing really well for some big snapper at the moment.
Yeah, they've just really kicked off, and now the people are out of Melbourne, you've seen reports come in, but the locals have been down there sort of smashing it at the moment. So amongst other things, been fishing really well.
Yep, there you go. Frankston is another hot spot. 17 metres off Hastings. Got Hastings on the line. Off Frankston, 17 metres. Absolute hot spot at the moment. There's plenty of reefs out there. You'll see the patches of boats, and silver whiting's been doing a lot of the damage. Some beautiful silver whiting in the market at the moment, boys, coming from Lakes Entrance. Big, chunky, and fresh.
Nice.
Yeah,
good snapper bait.
I reckon.
Good feed.
Yeah. I'm going to say this year, is probably one of the best years for bait. Like we have some years where we struggle for pilchards. Don't we?
That's right.
And you almost go, that's last year's pilchards.
Well, and not just that, where the pillies are coming from, Dave, because I was only having a chat to a customer about today. He asked me where the pilchards were from, and depending on what packet you pick, they could be from Western Australia, South Australia, Port Phillip Bay, or Eden.
Yeah.
That's just how good the bait supply is.
I think our big ones are from Lakes Entrance at the moment.
There you go, Lakes Entrance. Oh, so John's from Lakes as well.
John's is getting from Lakes Entrance.
I think the best ones are Port Phillip Bay at the moment.
Yeah. And Melissa knows Phil McAdam very well, being from Williamstown, and he's producing a very nice pilchard
that's right.
at the moment. So, all right, let's keep going. Western Port. Let's go over to Western Port. Gentle Annie. What a lovely name for a place to go fishing for snapper. Gentle Annie, some beautiful snapper.
Make sure you put a whiting rod down too.
Yeah.
Get a nice mix of both species there in the same spot.
There you go. The capital of white. This place just keeps popping up. Some cracking fish sent through to us this week that didn't make it to Catch of the Week because we had too many. But Silverleaves off Phillip Island, absolutely fishing sensational for snapper this week. Just a great place. Good place to get kind of a bit protected there too.
Yeah, that's right.
Places, so particularly from that southerly.
Keeping close to the island.
Trelly, as you said, it's shoulder to shoulder at Lake Eildon at the moment, isn't it, for yellow belly?
That's right. The boat ramps up there have just to capacity at some places, and they've never seen so many fishermen up there catching fish, and they're all doing really well.
Yeah.
Yellow belly going mad. Some of those rocky, outcrops and points and things like that. Little yabbies, jackals, black grubs.
Yeah, black soft plastics.
Yeah, it's all the rage for yellow belly.
Yep.
It really is.
Really good.
And lucky last, another place that is a favourite this time of year, Port Albert, big snapper and gummies at the moment, and I'm talking big, so 20-pound snapper, 20 kilo. Funny when we change from kilos to depends what species you're talking about. But 20 kilo gummies. It wouldn't sound the same being 43 pound
doesn't
gummies,
sound
would
right, does it?
20 kilos sounds good. So there you go, Port Albert. Charlie, quick question for you.
Yep.
Because I saw this during the Barty grubs.
Yeah.
I know you said that a few years ago you brought one in and ate it.
Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah.
Can you bring one in again? What do they do? How do they die and then you just freeze them or dry them or something, and you can still use them as cod bait?
Yeah, actually, they're a rather large grub. I'll bring one in next week. But they live in a hole in the ground. Then when they get to a certain point, around about February, you'll get that rain come through.
Yeah.
Then they'll all hatch as a big moth, a Barty grub moth.
Oh.
And they'll all hatch within probably, I'll say all of them, but most of them will hatch within a night or two or one night.
Oh, wow.
And there's just heaps of them. And that's when you get the surface lures out. The cod just go mad on surface lures.
Yep.
But
the grub itself, what do? You freeze it or dry it or something and
blanch
keep it as a bait?
So you can lightly blanch. So you can lightly boil it in milk.
Yeah.
Perhaps bring it to the boil.
You don't do this in Mary's kitchen, do you?
He stopped me doing
that. Imagine a saucepan of milk. I'm just blanching the Barty grubs.
Yeah, when she found one in the kettle, I'm banned from the kitchen. But so you just blanch them, and that keeps their colour. They stay white. If they don't blanch them properly, they go black.
Okay.
So but they're still good. Even black, they're still good as a bait.
Yeah. Can you bring one in next week?
We'll do that
if you can remember.
Yep.
That'd be good. Minister, plans for the next couple of weeks? What are you up to?
Well, I'm going to go take the eldest son fishing, snapper off Willie next on Saturday, so that'll be good. Nice. But I'm also pulling together a bit of a plan to get up to Shepparton and have a look at Arcadia's native fish hatchery.
Yeah.
Obviously haven't been able to travel, so really keen to get up and see the progress.
Trelly and I were only talking about that, and I mean, you'll get to see it. If you were to go, I'm going to try and pick a property that would be the best blank canvas for a native fish hatchery. Anthony Forster and Travis Dowling got the job done, didn't they? I mean,
nailed it.
Oh, you've been out there, Trelly. I mean, it is fantastic, isn't it?
Yeah, and all the sites they had to pick from, they didn't have a lot.
Yeah.
And stumbled across one, and they said, the neighbours got their place up for sale.
That's right.
And they went over there, and they said they approached the chap and said, we've been here a while, we're thinking about selling. And Anthony and Travis just jumped on it.
Yeah.
Had all the clay, the bore water, or the underground water and all that, just ticked all the boxes. It's flat.
It's got a 100-year-old homestead on it. That I always, when I first saw it, I thought, I don't know if anyone's been to Tasmania to the salmon ponds up there, but there's like a historic property over in Tassie where they first brought the trout eggs on peat moss from England And I think they had about 3 attempts back in the 1800s. But they got the trout eggs to Tassie and they'd created a hatchery there, and that place still stands today. And it's almost like a museum to fishing. And I thought, gee, there's this 100-year-old homestead on Arcadia that you could turn into somehow a museum for native fishing. I don't know.
Oh, absolutely.
I mean, it'd have to have, I guess, an Indigenous side to it.
Fresco area.
Fresco area as well, Charlie. I was more talking about, the native Australians have been catching Murray cod for probably 20,000, 30,000 years, So.
Oh, absolutely, yeah. The back's right down on the Goulburn, so you can actually launch a boat at the back of the property. It's a fantastic property.
Would that be Crown land that now allows camping?
It's Crown land that allows camping, but there has got some access issues with a railway line at one end, and I think there's something happening at the other end. So
Yep.
Nice.
Good stuff. Like we were talking before, yellow belly like the popularity every year just grows, and there is real pressure on Snobs Creek to be able to provide enough yellow belly to stock as that fishery popularity grows. So that's another good thing for Arcadia when it comes along. It will be producing, several million fish rather than having to buy a lot of those fish from New South Wales because Snobs, is quite limited. So very, very good stuff, Arcadia. Minister, thanks for coming in tonight.
My absolute pleasure.
Going to come back again?
Absolutely.
Haven't scared you off too much. 2 shows in a few months. It's pretty good.
That's awesome.
Yeah, there you go. Thank you very much to the Minister. Minister's in the house. Hopefully, Minister's going down to sort out Hastings boat ramp and get that thing open very, very quickly. But that's it for Talking Fishing. Hope you enjoyed the show. Some warm weather heading our way again in the next few days. Just prime time for a whole lot of species, so get out and enjoy it. Till we see you again next Tuesday on Talking Fishing, please stay safe on the water and enjoy your fishing.
Talking fishing, nothing but fishing, we're talking fishing. We got all you need, just take a look. Watch those fish jump on your hook. So just relax and take your time. Enjoy the show, then drop us a line. Talking fishing, nothing but fishing, we're talking fishing. Talking fishing, nothing but fishing, we're talking fishing. Talking fishing.
Have a good weekend, Mr. Walker.
You too, son.